This is Dumbed Down Life number 68.
And that was the Electric Touch with Sounds of the Underground, and it just disappeared off the screen, so I couldn't read it. Good evening, Darren.
Good evening, Lance.
God, I hate this recording live stuff. How are you?
I'm not too bad. I have my liquid refreshment with me, my liquid inspiration.
Liquid inspiration.
Yes, Mr. Daniels.
Ah, fantastic. Well done. Right, you're a Twitter user, aren't you?
Somewhat.
Somewhat. More so than I am, and I use it quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So, are you aware that Twitter are about to start advertising?
I am. Not looked much into what that means, but yes.
Well, what they're going to do is they're allowing companies to start buying keywords. And when you go to the Twitter website and do a search for things, and if a company has bought a keyword related to your search, their advert will appear at the top of the search results. Now, they're limited to 140 characters in just the same way as a normal tweet is. So it's kind of like seeing an extra tweet at the top, a bit like Google's sponsored links.
Yeah.
But if you don't search for anything, then they won't appear.
So these are going to be adverts in the form of a tweet as opposed to there being a sidebar with adverts on that are sponsored.
That's right, yeah.
Ah. And will these adverts also show in applications such as TweetDeck, or is it limited purely to the web page for Twitter?
Now, that's something I don't know, which is, I had this written down in my notes, actually. You use TweetDeck, don't you?
I do, yes.
Yeah, so do I. And that was something I'm curious about, because you can do searches for certain things on TweetDeck, can't you? And I'm wondering whether the adverts will show up there, or whether they are purely linked to Twitter's website. If they are linked just to the website, then it really doesn't bother me, because I'm never going to see them.
Yeah, well, the thing that you have on programs such as TweetDeck, they are a search, but they're almost more of a filter. So I wonder how that would work, because initially when you power it up, then it is doing a search, and yes, it will throw up the sponsored tweets at the top. But I wonder if every time it refreshes, that's considered to be a search, in which case it's going to keep throwing them up.
Oh, when it does an API call.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. That hadn't crossed my mind.
I mean, you won't typically see a tweet repeated every time it does the API call, but is that going to change with the sponsored links? Because I don't particularly want to do a search on F1 during the Formula One race and keep seeing, I don't know, the latest sponsored link from Mercedes or whoever it is clogging up the traffic that's coming through.
Yeah, because you can assume that with something such as Formula One or the World Cup coming up this year, the Football World Cup, there's going to be a lot of companies buying those kind of... I'm assuming that they won't just sell F1 to one single company. It'll be sort of almost a timeshare thing, I guess.
Well, yeah, that is going to be the other thing. How's it going to work? Because if they do sell F1 to a particular company, or whether there's going to be... the more you pay, the higher it ranks.
Yeah.
Is there going to be more than one advert per keyword?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if I do a search for Coca-Cola, then I pretty much expect to get sponsored stuff thrown in my face, which probably isn't going to be much use anyway, because the kind of person that's doing a search for Coca-Cola probably is already fully aware of the product.
Yeah.
But then online adverts don't have any effect on me anyway.
Well, this is something I was coming on to. YouTube have started putting pre and post roll adverts on some of their videos, haven't they? Some of the sort of official videos.
Yeah.
So if you watch an official music video that the record companies put up, there's probably going to be a Coca-Cola or a Pepsi ad at the top of that, isn't there?
I'm not sure. Is it the... I think they call it affiliated, isn't it? When you're an affiliated person, because some of these videos that I've seen with commercials on them haven't been big sponsors. They've just been some of the smaller YouTube people, but they're showing. What's frustrating me right now is they may well be showing a video that says, "Sorry, I haven't put up a video in a while, but meanwhile, go back and look over my old videos." You know, that's the video they've put up.
Yeah.
And there's a 2-minute commercial in front of it, which you can't fast forward.
Yeah, that's a bit frustrating.
Can they not put some kind of engine into it that says, if advert is longer than video,
don't bother.
Then don't bother.
Yeah.
or if advert is longer than video, then put advert at the end instead of at the front.
Now, they won't put it at the end because they know that people won't watch it. As soon as they watch the video and an advert starts, people will be clicking off it.
If it was a brand new video, I would possibly watch it because I didn't know that it was a video. A brand new commercial, I'd possibly watch it because I didn't know what it was about.
That's possible, yeah.
Whereas if it's one that I've watched before, then I'm going to do my utmost to skip it no matter what.
But I reckon that your thoughts on online advertising, as far as things like Twitter and YouTube go, are very similar to mine. In that, fine, let them do it, because the adverts themselves don't particularly bother me or convince me to go out and buy something. Probably on a subliminal level they do, but if that's the way they pay the bills and keep the servers running so I can still get the content for free, then absolutely fine, go ahead and do it.
Would you like a cuke?
A cuke?
Sorry, quick reference back to IT crowd there.
You're not obsessed in any way, are you?
Not obsessed at all, no.
But
that was one of their episodes where he's saying, "Oh no, these sidebars don't affect me at all. Oh look, there's a cute little game here where you have to throw a cuke can into the wastebasket. Oh," and then the next scene, he's actually got a fridge full of cuke.
Yeah. But your feelings are the same as mine.
Absolutely.
On that,
Yeah. As long as, well, I say the only exception to that being that when the commercials are longer than the video, it doesn't make sense. And also for web pages in general, when the flash advert game thing takes longer to load than the 3-paragraph article that I wanted to read, that gets frustrating, and that does tempt me into putting in some of these ad blockers in. I notice this quite a lot now because with Barbara being on dial-up at the moment, I'll send her a link to a news story, and then half an hour later she'll tell me, "Oh, got it." It's like, what? It was only 2 paragraphs. So I was, "Oh yes, but there was this drinks commercial down the side that while that was loading, you can't do anything else. You can't see anything else." And it's like, it's a badly designed page. But yeah, relevant advertising, no problem with that at all. that was the Little Invisibles with Closer. Now, I've actually been practicing this all afternoon, and I'm probably still going to say it wrong. Eyjafjallajoekull glacier volcano has erupted in Iceland and has thrown up tons and tons of volcanic ash, causing the plains and the airspace over England to be closed. Now, I live under the flight path for Heathrow, and normally as I look out this time of the evening, the blue sky has got traces of the aircraft trails, and you can generally see at least 3 or 4 planes in the sky at any one time, and there's nothing out there.
Ooh.
It's completely blue sky. You can't even see any clouds or anything. It's just completely blue sky. But apparently the ash that comes from the volcano is full of volcanic glass and stone and the sort of things that you really don't want to be sucking through a jet engine. So yeah, they've said that they keep changing the times. They were considering reopening at 6 p.m. this evening, and that's been and gone. They've now said that it's unlikely that they're going to be letting planes fly again before 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, and a lot of reports have suggested that even that is looking doubtful. Apparently this ash cloud is between 20 and 50,000 feet. Okay. So this is why it's not likely to rain ash upon us, but it's coming up, it'll go over and then land somewhere in Europe, by which time it would have been so dispersed that you're not actually going to get a covering of ash anywhere.
So is that, when you say the planes have been grounded, is that all aircraft, or is that just jet aircraft? Is sort of single prop stuff around?
Yeah, I'm thinking that it's only anything that's going to get up into the 20 to 50,000 foot range.
Yeah, because something like a Cessna is not going to get that high, is it?
Well, just before we started recording, I saw a prop plane buzz across the horizon. Now, the fact that it was buzzing across the horizon suggests that it's probably at 6,000-7,000 feet at the highest.
Yeah,
I'm also in sort of southern England, whereas I think that the main I'm not sure if pyroclastic is the correct use of the word, but that the main ash cloud is currently across the north and the west of the country.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is pyroclastic, isn't it? Because it's the pyroclastic flow is lava, isn't it, and all the ash and stuff. So yeah, I think you're right.
Pyroclastic cloud, I think, is the one that's right near the volcano that's still burning and hot.
Oh, right.
As opposed to like just the ash that's spread out and now blowing across Europe. But yeah, this is only like the second time that I'm aware of that all the air traffic has actually been grounded. The first one being, of course, September 11th, 2001.
Yeah.
When it was grounded for a few hours, whereas traffic has been grounded pretty much all day. The last plane that came in was one from Canada that was already in the air by the time the decision had been made to ground everything, and people were coming off the plane in an empty Heathrow and wondering why the press were all so interested in them landing.
I bet they got through bag checking quickly.
You realise you were the last plane to land. What? And it was all because of this ash cloud. A couple of other things that sort of come to mind is that we talk about our carbon footprint, and not doing the trips down to the shops with the car because of the amount of rubbish that we're putting into the sky. And then this volcano just suddenly puts, it must be hundreds of tons of all kinds of nasty gases and things up into the atmosphere.
And it's the upper atmosphere as well, isn't it?
Yeah, really messing with any sort of geothermals and whatever, and messing with the ozone and the like.
Now, wouldn't that cool it rather than heat it, though?
Oh, the whole thing, I've always... I never understood what all the...
Well, the reason why I say that is because they always go on about, in the event of a nuclear war, that all the debris and everything thrown up would cause nuclear winter. So wouldn't that, in a sort of microscopic version of that, wouldn't that cause the temperatures to drop?
But possibly so. I mean, almost certainly underneath the cloud where it's thickest, yes. But to cause any kind of blockage of the sun to any great distance, it would have to be a lot more than just a volcano, I think.
Oh, baby. And you are listening to the Bugcast. We'll play some fantastic music and we'll have a chat about some stuff. Thank you very much, Caroline. Rule number 1 of podcasting: a citronella will keep more than just bugs away. Because it's the music and the talking that keeps bringing me back for more.
Excuse me?
Head along to the Bugcast chat room at thebugcast.org/live.
What?
If you can just wait the next few minutes before you fall asleep.
Okay, I'm flushing now.
In Yorkshire, anything's possible.
Documentation at the BBC this week has been released that says, again, this has been generalised to make it into a more interesting headline, that says the transition between doctors was inspired by an LSD kind of trip. What the actual documentation says when you look at it is that the transition should appear like a bad LSD trip. And so,
how would anybody at the BBC know what a bad LSD trip feels like?
Have you ever worked with creative people?
Only you.
Oh, I'm not that creative. No, having worked with creative people in the past, there can be some medical influences on their work. But yeah, it's interesting to see how the wording has been sort of twisted a little bit just to make it an interesting headline. And did bring to mind also that we've not spoken about Mr. Smith, have we?
No, not at all.
And there's been a couple of shows now. What's your opinion, sir?
I think he's actually quite good. I do like him.
And I think the first episode, he was very Tennant-y.
But isn't that probably by design?
Don't know.
Bearing in mind he just regenerated, was it written that way, or was he asked to play that way? Is it's the kind of the old Doctor being shaken out before his new personality comes in?
Well, we didn't get that with previous reincarnations, but it did worry me a bit when he was quite Tennant-y for that first one. I thought, oh, don't try. You've got to be your own Doctor. Yeah. And thankfully, he seems to have come into his own a little bit more with the second episode. And also, this is, of course, the new writer-director for the new season.
Well, it's not so much a new writer, is it? Because he did write a lot of the episodes for the last 3 or 4 seasons.
I don't know that he wrote a lot of them. I think he only wrote a few. I'd have to check that out. But yeah, I don't think he wrote that many of them. But certainly his influence over the style of the Doctor is quite obvious already, just from those first 2 episodes. And yeah, I agree. It's a good change. Not that there was anything wrong with Mr. Tennant, but it's nice to see.
I'd have happily have had Tennant carry on for another 3 or 4 seasons, but if he wanted to leave, that's fine. I'm just glad they found somebody who's up to the task, because it's a big ask, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And when you think about it, when David Tennant started, he was known, but not not a big name, I don't think.
Is nowhere on the scale as he's known now.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And that tends to be the way that most doctors have been, I think.
Yeah, certainly from sort of John Pertwee upwards. I don't think Patrick Troughton particularly well known at the time when he became doctor.
See, you're asking me as if I was around at the time. I'm just trying to think who else. Peter Davidson was All Creatures Great and Small, wasn't he?
Yep.
And Sylvester.
Well, Colin Baker came after him.
Colin Baker was a complete.
He was unknown, wasn't he? I'm sure of that. Sylvester McCoy was fairly well known.
He was quite well known in the sort of children's.
Didn't he do
television.
the Adventure Game?
I don't know if it was the Adventure Game, but it was sort of children's television, kind of a slapsticky clown kind of a guy.
Which he kind of carried on, didn't he?
Yeah, which is why I never really took to him as the Doctor at all. Probably my least favourite Doctor of all of them.
I think he was the last one before they cancelled the show, which backs that up, really.
Yep. The interest in it just waned and then dropped off until they were able to bring some sort of decent special effects and story writing into it to help bring it back to life again.
Well, they did try the TV movie thing, didn't they, with Paul McGann.
Paul McGann, yeah. Which again,
I think I've read that was an attempt to sort of relaunch it over in America.
I think so, because it was quite an Americanized kind of a film.
Yeah.
But that didn't work too well. But certainly this new generation what is this, the fourth or fifth series now?
I think it's the fifth, because Christopher Eccleston did one, and then David Tennant's done
3.
I think he's done 3, hasn't he? So this will be the fifth season, yeah.
And I'm quite enjoying it now.
Absolutely. And the first episode really grabbed my attention due to a certain policewoman costume. That was enough to keep you watching, wasn't it?
Possibly. But then saying that, there has been a lot of very eye candy related assistants throughout Doctor Who's long time.
Catherine Tate. Whoa.
Yeah, Catherine Tate wasn't the ones that came to mind. But when you look back at some of them from the 60s and the 70s, there's quite beautiful women have played assistants. Again, I would have to say that Sylvester McCoy's Ace.
She was Sophie Aldred.
No, oh goodness, no. She was a boy in a dress. In fact, did she wear a dress that often?
No.
Perhaps that's why it failed. I mean, Sylvester McCoy, crappy Doctor Who, and Ace was a crappy companion.
So who would you say is the best companion that you can remember?
Oh, the name has gone completely from my head now. Perry. Perry was my favourite companion, Perry. To the extent where I can't even remember which Doctor she was a companion to. I think she was a companion to Peter Davidson.
I think so. Yeah. I can't picture her actually.
Dark brown bobbed hair, quite a small kind of a woman. But she was from would that have been sort of mid to late 80s? I think that was.
Possibly.
Which is probably why, hormones running and everything. That's probably why she was like,
I do have to sort of point a vested interest in the new Doctor.
You do?
Yeah, because he's from Northampton.
Oh, right.
Which is about 8 miles up the road from me.
So do you know him then?
No, because he's like 20-something and I'm 30-odd something. So no, unfortunately. But in one of those 6 degrees of separation type things, the guy I work with, his wife, a friend of hers went to school with him.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Now, I believe that a friend of the show actually got to interview him.
Not quite.
Not quite. Go on, explain that then, because
He-
I've not seen anything.
He got to film him being interviewed by a friend of the show's brother.
Right. So, where's the interview? Or is that?
No, right. Okay. Long story short, Ben, who's been a
Co-host.
and interviewee,
Yep.
his brother is a morning DJ on our local radio station, Connect
Ah,
FM.
right.
And Matt Smith and I don't know her real name. The actress that plays.
Neither do I.
I can't even think of the. Amy, no, Pond. What's the first name? Is it
Yeah.
Amy Pond, yeah. They came down to Northampton, back to his old school, to give them a preview premiere of the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously local radio were all over that.
Right.
And Greg went down to do an interview, and they wanted to film it to go up on the website. So Ben went along and did the filming and the editing for the website. So,
So have you seen whether the interview is still up there somewhere?
I'm just checking as we speak.
Because if it is, we shall indeed be putting a link in the show notes.
Yes, I'm imagining it still will be, because
Something big like that.
it's not going to get taken off very quickly, is it?
Never good enough, nothing's good enough. Never good enough, nothing's ever good enough. Never good enough, nothing's ever good enough. Never good enough. What? It's so hard to even like you, 'cause you're so set in your ways. No one else would take all your shit, so you laid it on me. You think I'm stupid, you think I'm naive, but I can see you lying through your teeth. The person that I thought I knew isn't you, and couldn't be so far out of reach. I love you, despise you, but there ain't no one like you. Together or apart, you're always breaking my heart. Doesn't matter what I say, got a way of turning it around on me. Nothing's ever good enough for you. Doesn't matter what I do, 'cause everything's always been about you. Nothing's ever good enough for you. Never good enough, nothing's good enough. Never good enough, nothing's ever good enough. Never good enough, nothing's ever good enough. Never good enough. You don't like it when I fight it, when I stand up on myself. I know you had your way, I'd be sitting pretty on your shelf. I love you, despise you, but there ain't no one like you. Together or apart, you're always breaking my heart. Doesn't matter what I say, got a way of turning it around on me. Nothing's ever good enough for you. It doesn't matter what I do, 'cause everything's always been about you. Nothing's ever good enough for you. I know it's wrong, but you always fill that empty space. Just one look and it's over all over again. There's no use lying, ain't denying that I like the pain. You got a way of making my whole body ache, just a test to see how much that I can take. There is no happy end. Let's see how far I can bend till I break. Doesn't matter what I
Now, let me just explain here at the moment that because we use this Skype to record the show, I can't hear the music properly. I can just hear it sort of coming through the speakers and microphone and stuff that Lance has got. But from what I could hear of that song, I'm really looking forward to listening to the podcast so I can hear it properly.
We have actually played it before.
Have we really?
It was not so long ago, actually. But I couldn't tell you which show it was.
Perhaps that's why I like it. That was Alex Calise with Good Enough. And yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing the show again so I can listen to that. Are you familiar with Foursquare?
I'm a member of Foursquare.
You're a member, are you? And how many places are you a mayor of then?
One. Guess where?
Would that be your work office?
Yeah. Mainly because I keep forgetting to log in whenever I go anywhere.
Well, Foursquare is an application which I don't know if it's available on lots of different platforms, but it's certainly available on the iPod Touch and iPhone, where you record where you are and where you've been. And you get certain bonuses for visiting places with a certain frequency, and whether you're the person that visits this place the most, and how many places you visit in a day, and all this sort of thing. And it's been discussed and decided that tomorrow will be Foursquare Day. Now, to mark Foursquare Day, they're actually going to be having parties in certain parts of America. And I guess everybody's going to have to log the fact that they're at this party. And do you know how they chose April the 16th to be Foursquare Day?
No.
Well, April is typically, well, it's not typically, April is the fourth month year.
Yeah, it doesn't move around. It is always the fourth month, yeah.
The 16th being four squared.
Yeah.
16.
All very clever.
So if you are a Foursquared member, then make sure you're logging extra specially. In the UK at the moment, it's quite easy to become a mayor of places because it's not really caught on over here yet. So a lot of times you're registering places for the first time, and then the second time you visit a place, you become mayor of that place.
Which is just how I did it at work.
Exactly, and that's how I've done it with a couple of local shops. Unfortunately, Wi-Fi, because I've only got the iPod Touch, Wi-Fi is not that common to find free Wi-Fi spots. And I'm finding also that sometimes these places aren't that reliable. You might log in one time, next time you go and try and log in, and it's forgotten your details.
So it's a battle to become mayor of the local McDonald's then, is it?
The local, well, it's not so much of a battle yet because I think I'm still the only person that's ever registered it. But the local McDonald's and the local KFC and the local library are about the only three places that I've been able to find anywhere that provides Wi-Fi so far. You can go to the website and retrospectively put in where you've been, but that's too much like effort for me. I don't try that one.
It's very much an instant, I'm here, I'll do it kind of thing, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. But I do like that it sort of rewards you for going places and trying things. It is aimed more at sort of clubs and pubs and bars, but yeah, fast food places and shops, when they've got Wi-Fi in them, it's just easy to just fire up the application and check in.
You've always got in your
And that was a secret pop band with Saccharine 160. So talking about iPods...
Hang on. Saccharine 160?
Yeah.
Not Saccharine Smile?
Well, it could be Saccharine Smile, I guess. It does say Saccharine 160 on the...
Because I'm sure we've played that before as well.
Have we?
I think we have.
Oh. Well, it's possibly
I think it was
Saccharine
called
Smile.
Saccharine Smile.
I've no idea.
Saccharine 160 doesn't seem to ring, especially when most of the lyrics were Saccharine Smile.
Do you know, I wasn't listening.
Oh, all this effort you put into the music and then you don't listen to it yourself. God damn.
That's what it says on the tags. I'm only reading out what it says. Give me a break. Leave me alone. Anyway, as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted. Talking of iPods.
Yes.
What applications do you have on there? On yours?
Well, I have 7 pages full of applications.
7?
So for me to actually go through those would probably take a podcast of its own.
All right, so which ones do you use most?
The ones which I use most? Well, Foursquared, which we just spoke about. And just recently, I've added Opera Mini as a replacement for the Safari browser that comes as default with the iPhone. Have you tried the Opera Mini browser yet?
No, I knew it was coming and forgot all about it.
See, yeah, there's always that worry when they say it's gone to the App Store. It's just awaiting Apple's approval, and then you forget that it was ever existed. So I actually made it my home page so I could see the countdown coming down, and it was released earlier in the week, and it's good.
Better?
It's obvious that it's an early version. It's certainly a lot quicker, and when I found problems with it, I've then sort of gone back to Safari and looked at the same page and seen different problems anyway. So it's the same as sort of comparing Internet Explorer and I was going to say Netscape. It's the same as Firefox, yeah, because some pages Firefox has problems with, but then some pages Internet Explorer has problems with, and it's just the way that they've interpreted HTML and CSS that differs between the browsers. There's still a lot of things where when you click on a link, it causes it to fire off the Safari browser. Yeah. And this is because of the way that the iPod or the iPhone is hard-coded to handle things such as video and audio, that you can't link to it directly from the new browser. You have to go via the
QuickTime
Apple approved. Yeah, the QuickTime and everything is all triggered through Safari. It won't yet trigger from Opera directly. But one of the things that I've noticed, when you zoom, if you use Safari, you've got a variable zoom amount. So you pinch and you move your fingers apart a tiny little bit and it zooms just a tiny little bit. But what that has to do is it has to think about the scaling of all the fonts. It scales and then becomes clear once you've decided that that's the size you want. And it can be a little bit slow to do that. With Opera, it only has what appears to be 2, let me just see, just the 2 sizes. There's either zoomed or not zoomed.
Oh, right.
So as soon as you pinch and flick, bang, it appears with the bigger size, but you don't get the granularity of control, which, to be honest, I think the speed is better because you don't often need that half distance sort of a zoom.
Generally, you're either zooming right in or zooming right out, aren't you?
Yeah. Now, one of the things that Safari has got over Opera is when you click on a picture in Safari, it zooms to the size of that picture. With Opera only having the 2 sizes, it doesn't do that. So you click on a picture and it zooms out to whatever the zooming is, and quite often the picture ends up being too big to see it all in the one frame, so you go from one extreme to the other. But no, Opera is a good one. Give it a try, and I think it can only get better, and it's free, so it's certainly worth giving it a try. What else did I install this week? Meebo, Meebo, is a website that we've been using for a long time. We also were using it for the chat room when we were doing live shows. And I had been using it as a web page on the iPod Touch, which worked fine. But now they've got a full-blown application. What Meebo does is it gives you the ability to log in as a number of different instant messenger clients. You can log in with your Gmail account, your Yahoo account, your MSN account, and they all appear in this one client, which when you've not got multitasking on the iPod or the iPhone, it helps to have all these accounts in this one application. And also means you're not having to shuffle between them if you're looking for different accounts and things. What else have I got? Well, the Formula One application, I think might have touched on that. Maybe we didn't, because we did not really discussed it, have we? The Formula One application, there's a couple of applications out there at the moment, one of which charges some ridiculous price, but gives you circuit information and all this sort of thing. But this application from Formula1.com gives you the information about the practices, the qualifying, and the race itself in pretty much real time. But
didn't you... the weekend I came down, we watched the first Grand Prix, didn't we?
Yep.
Didn't you try it then, and it couldn't get to the server during the race?
I do have a confession to make on that one.
Go on.
There is one tiny, tiny thing that I don't like about the iPod Touch, and that is that you cannot mark a network to be excluded. My next door neighbour, their Wi-Fi network is open. Now, when I go into the living room in my house, I'm sat directly between my router and next door's router. So sometimes it'll pick up next door, sometimes it'll pick up mine. I would like to be able to click on next doors and say, do not connect to this, it's insecure, it's dangerous, don't want to link to it, stop it. But that doesn't happen. So what happens is I sit down there, and sometimes it has a bit of a battle to decide which of the two routers it wants to connect to. And I think that's what happened there, is that it connected to next door and couldn't get the information. Because for the last race, when I looked at it, it was fine and it was up to date.
Right.
It does chop the names of the teams and the drivers. So you do have to know your abbreviations and recognise them. So it's not quite as clear as having it up on the screen on a computer. But if, like we had when you came down, Lance, we ended up having 3 monitors, each with displays of different camera angles and technical information. If you're into having all that kind of information all around you during your Formula One, which does make it a completely different experience from simply watching
awesome,
on the telly.
wasn't it?
It's amazing, yeah.
We had our own little pit garage going on, didn't we?
Yeah. Well, we were saying things before the presenters were on the television, because they're seeing exactly the same information as we are, and we were able to commentate. I think we got a little bit extra from hearing the professionals, but we could pretty much commentate the whole thing ourselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, have the Formula One thing running. That was a good one. Carpool, Robert Llewellyn. Now he's just released this one today, so I've not been able to review it as such yet. But this is a way of making sure that you keep up to date with Robert Llewellyn and all his online shenanigans. He's got his Carpool, his Twitter.
So is it all of that all bought into one? Because
all bought into one application.
If it's just the video, then I don't see the point, because I'm already subscribed to his feed, so it drops into iTunes automatically anyway.
Yeah, yeah. But then, depending on how you synchronize your iTunes with your touch,
Nightly.
I don't synchronize the videos with the touch. So if I wanted to see what was the latest Carpool, I can just bring it up and watch it now without having to synchronize it to the computer first. Very similar to the way that Scott Sigler has done with his application, his iPod application. And the last one that I've been trying to use, again, this is quite an old one, but it's one called StepTrak or StepTrakLite.
I've got that one.
Which actually turns your iPod Touch or iPhone into a pedometer and counts the amount of steps that you've done. There is an associated website that goes with it, but I think you have to be a member before you can upload your information to the website.
Now, see, I like that one. I think it's a good idea. But the problem I have with it is that while that's running, you can't do anything else with the iPod. You can't turn the iPod... you can't put it on key lock.
Yeah.
So it has to be live all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're sort of walking around, that's fine. But say if I was measuring how many steps I'd take during a working day...
Yeah.
So I'd have it in my pocket. I'd have it running. I'll sit down at my desk, and then you can still hear if an email drops in.
Right.
So you turn it off. You look at your email. You've then got to remember to turn it back on.
Yeah.
To get up and walk 3 or 4 paces across the office to put a file in a filing cabinet.
Yeah.
And then walk back. I can't see it being. I can't see it being used every day.
No.
From my perspective. But certainly if I was out doing a walk, I go for walks in the evening.
Yeah.
I could certainly see it being useful then.
Yeah.
But as a day-to-day pedometer, I think I'd rather actually have a pedometer.
I think, well, going a step further, I would rather use GPS if I'm going to be outside. It's going to be more accurate because these pedometers that measure how far you've gone according to your steps don't necessarily take into affect your stride and how your stride changes and the like.
Because I'm going to take 10% more steps than you are because there's nearly a foot in distance in height.
But you've got the ability to adjust for that, but then it's not going to be as accurate as if you take the GPS system with you. But then I think the setups that we've got are a little bit messy with regards to that.
Yeah.
Perhaps an iPhone as opposed to the iPod Touch that's got GPS built into it, that would probably be a nice little system for doing the walks and measuring how far you've walked and timing it and so forth.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the main applications that I use on my iPod Touch.
So surprisingly, you haven't mentioned the Facebook app. Do you not use that?
My main use, well, no, not Facebook, but I tend to use TweetDeck.
On the iPod?
I'll use TweetDeck on the iPod and then use that to send to Twitter and Facebook. The Facebook app, really, Facebook for me is more of a
portal
immersive
to your games, isn't it?
Sorry? A portal to the games, yeah, more of an immersive thing. I'll tend to go on there and see that somebody has suggested a YouTube video which the Facebook application won't launch, or they've suggested a link to something which would look better on a computer screen. So I don't tend to use the Facebook application that much on the touch. I find that what you can get from Facebook on TweetDeck is enough. And certainly for updating, again, the TweetDeck application is enough. I do like also how a lot of applications now, you do get the little button that says let your friends know. The 4 squared thing as an example, if you want to, when you get to a place, you can log in and then it will also tweet and stick on Facebook the fact that you are now at a particular location. And the idea is that, this is where you meet all your friends from, or this is possibly where the advertising... So the whole show goes full circle. If I keep tweeting enough the fact that I am at a particular fast food restaurant, then it might make somebody else go, that reminds me, I'm feeling hungry. So it's a way of getting advertising without spending big bucks, really. All of the applications that I've mentioned here I'll put into the show notes. Well, that's it for another week, another show. Another week? It sounds like we do them
weekly. Not quite.
If you have any comments on the show, and I'm sure you probably do, then you can go to our website, which is www.dumbeddownlife.com, and there's a comment section at the bottom of all the show notes. Just click on there and let us know what you think. Thank you very much for listening, and talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.